Hey guys, what's going on? We're going to do a little how-to video to put the metal gears in the stock servo of the Traxxas X-Maxx. What happens is the plastic gears strip out. As you can see right here, these gears stripped out. Those little gears strip right out of that, and it makes it not steer. The servo stops working because the gears just strip. They do have an upgrade kit for this. So what you do is you get the metal gears that go in the stock servo. And the part number on that is 2087X from Traxxas. They do make another servo that you could just drop right in. Cost you between $80 and $100 for that servo. So like I said, this is what a stock servo looks like with the gears all in there, and we're going to be putting the metal gears in there. So all right, we got this one all ready to go. This is the stock servo 2085, and we're going to be putting the metal gears in it now. All right, so when you're cleaning this out of here, you just want to, Q-tips work good. You could just run it in here and just make sure that you get all that stripped plastic out of there. You'll see there's a lot of plastic on there and old grease. Just want to keep that nice and clean because you're going to have fresh gears in here. So you don't want foreign objects and debris inside there grinding up in there. So we're going to go ahead and grease this up a little bit in here with some new white lithium grease. So the first gear that is going to go in here is this guy here. That's going to go right down in here, and that gear actuates on the motor that's on the other side of this servo here. And you just want to make sure that this fits right in here the way it's supposed to be. All right, so we got that gear in there, and we installed the pin which holds that gear in there, that flat one there. So your next gear that's gonna go in, you got the big gears with a bearing on there. So just make sure you take some pictures. If you know, that's why I'm doing a video also. Drop the screw here, let me grab that. Always keep an eye on your parts and pieces because they do like to fall out sometimes, get away from you, and then you're losing them. You'll be you know, out of luck. All right, so we got the bearing inside there, got that installed. Now we're going to take this, and like I said, it goes on here one way. You just got to find the way that it fits on there correctly. Okay. What we're going to do is there's a tit on the top of this gear. We're going to line that up pretty much towards the wires. Okay. Then the next gear that you're going to have is you're going to have this gear over here, and this is going to drop down over this piece with the blue where your gear comes up from your motor there on that one. This is going to drop down and then just line it up with the gear there. We're going to give these guys a little bit of lube. A little bit of grease in here. Whoa, we got a little bit too much there. Oh, that's all right. Spread it around here. We can get a Q-tip, and I like to use a Q-tip on a lot of things working with the small parts and stuff. You could kind of just press it around, get that in there, get that grease in those gears. At least try to get it in all the teeth there. So when this comes around and meshes, that it's it's all good and ready to go. You don't want dry contact, especially with metal moving parts. So grease is always good for things. Lubrication, it is key. Okay, so that's how that guy's gonna look. That gear in there. All right, so the last gear that we have is this one here. That one there. And by the way, this does come with directions. They're a little tough to read. I don't know if you guys could see them in the camera here. There are pictured and numbered, but it's a little small. So then this gear, like I said, the last one, is going to drop down over the center pin. Make sure you got a little grease on that. That's going to drop down. As soon as you get the gears meshed together, it'll drop down. You've got to line it up with the gear over here and in the center there. So it could be a little tricky just to get that thing lined up. And there you go. Once it's on and drop down. So what we'll do is get this one lubed up also. Okay, so we got this good and lubed with grease. And then the last one that you're going to have to put on here, or I should say the last parts and pieces, is you're going to have a bigger, larger bearing, which is going to go on the shaft here that your servo horn goes on. So the bearing is going to slip over this just like that. Okay, and then you're going to have a washer that's going to go over that. And the last thing to give it a little waterproofing is there's an O-ring. And make sure you don't cut that O-ring when you're putting it back on to your bearing top there. And that's going to kind of seal a lot of garbage out. We're going to give this bearing a little lube with some grease and keep these parts all nice and lubed up here. Okay, everything's got grease on it, it's lubed, and that's it. Now we could put the cover back on. It's only going to go one way pretty much, and that's about the inside of the cover. You just want to go ahead, make sure, inspect it, make sure there's no broken pieces in there. This one does have a little plastic in there from the old gears, from the plastic gears. So you want to go ahead and make sure you get all that out of there, clean that up. Okay, and then you just put this cover back on. There is an O-ring down on the bottom here. Make sure that that's all intact and in place when you go ahead and put that cover on. And then you're just going to sandwich that down. And there's going to be two shorter screws. You got a little washer / O-ring on there. You could pop those in there and screw that back in. We got Andrew here. Andrew's here helping me run this camera here while we're doing this video. Don't forget to say hi, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, guys.
And Andrew is going to tell you why we are changing the gears in the servo.
We're changing the gears because the first or second time we ran it, the gears stripped out and we bought a new servo. It didn't even last the full length of 2 batteries. So we got gears, metal gears, and we put them in the stock servo.
All right, so we got the last 2 screws, or the 2 screws on the top of this servo, 2085, just tighten them down. finger tight, human tight, whatever way you want to call it. Then you're going to have 4 long screws. Make sure they got a washer O-ring there. And there's going to be 4 long ones that go in and hold this cap top on. And we'll get all these in here and get these tightened down. So the reason why we're changing the gears and getting this stock servo back up and running is, I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, but there is an upgraded servo for these X-Maxxes, which comes with the spring and the link for the steering. Well, we put it in and we didn't even get through a full charge set of batteries. Flipped the truck over and something happened to that servo in there. The gears, this screw's going a little hard here. I'm just gonna put a little lube on it so I get it in there. Not sure why I didn't cross thread it. Make sure you don't cross thread these also, guys, when you're putting the stuff back together. But so I put the upgraded servo in, the 2085X, which is a stronger servo from Traxxas, and it has these metal gears in it already. And the truck flipped over, and then the steering stopped working. So something's going on with that servo that we just put in, the upgraded one with the metal gears. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap that one out with this one so we could run the truck in the meantime and take apart that new servo and see what's going on with it. And we might have to just send it back to Traxxas because we don't want to mess around with anything. All right, so this 2085X stock steering servo Traxxas X-Maxx is all back together. We got the metal gears in it. Like I said, the reason why we changed it out is because these plastic gears stripped out of the stock servo. Like I had mentioned before, I believe the part number, there is a upgraded servo that you could put on this. It's 2085X. It's got a little more torque for the steering servo, and it has these metal gears in it already. It's $80-100 like I mentioned before. We had put it in the truck, ran it, had an issue with it, so we're going to pull it out in the meantime so we can keep running the truck. We're going to put this one back in. All right, so that's the end of this video on how to put the metal gears in the stock servo on the X-Maxx. It kind of stinks that we have to do that. I think these servos should come with metal gears already right from the factory, but Traxxas doesn't do it, so they do sell the kit. For that metal servo gear set, you're looking at about $30 for it. All right, so that's how you do the upgrade.
Alright guys, like, subscribe to our channel, JagRC and Outdoor Adventures. See you in the next video.